Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 51 of the Tait Talks podcast. Today I'm talking to my special guest, Aarlon Tremayne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
Excited, my first podcast.
Very cordial, as my phone fucking beeps at the very beginning.
There you go.
You are the first person. Well, I used to record on video, and now I got a new camera as of last week.
Yep.
And you are the first person to be on that camera. So that's you, baby. That's you, baby boy. I should say this. You, my friend, are a LARPer.
I am a LARPer.
What is a LARPer?
A big old nerd is what a LARPer is.
It's an acronym?
Yes. So it stands for live action roleplay.
Yep.
Which can cover many different genres, whether it's fantasy, post-apocalyptic, airsoft, like in the States would be a LARP.
Okay, my initial, I suppose, the first time I'd seen LARPing was through the film Role Models.
Role Models, yeah, that's most people, yeah.
Is that in Australia? Because obviously that's an American film. Is that an accurate, representation of it, or
yes and no?
Okay.
It's at least the company that I do it through is a bit more. The standards are a bit higher in terms of costuming
in Australia.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. American LARPing is the poor version. There we go.
It depends. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on where you go.
Okay.
Like there's some that are called a BIF. I think it's called a BIF LARP. I'm not sure if BIF is an acronym or not.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's pool noodle swords and.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Where's that?
That's mostly in the States, from my understanding. It's not everywhere in the States.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of North America, Canada has a pretty big one called Bicoline.
Bicoline.
Yeah, I've never been to it.
Yep.
But it's
big.
it's massive. Like once a year, there's full on. Yeah.
Like a fair or whatever you call it.
Yeah, a full on fair.
Yeah.
People stay in little hut things and there's full on contact like to the top and to the side of the head.
You wear helmets and stuff like that?
Yeah, you wear helmets.
Can you just give us a brief description of what you usually go as, or what LARPing that you do?
Yep. So I do mine through a company called Swordcraft. Swordcraft.
Yep.
And it's a Warhammer-inspired fantasy game, essentially. So dwarves, elves, that sort of thing. And it's essentially, it's a battle game, is what it is. So every Friday night, 200 odd people rock up. 200. Maybe more, maybe less, depending. Ransford Oval.
So that's an oval in Melbourne?
In Melbourne, just near Melbourne Zoo.
Yeah, okay.
It's in Parkville.
Yep.
But yeah, 200 odd people rock up. Before COVID, maybe 300.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
And COVID wiped out 100 of them?
Apparently, yeah. Yeah, it hasn't been able to get the numbers since.
Yeah, okay.
It's slowly been coming back.
Yep.
It's slowly starting to get larger and larger again, which is pretty cool.
How did you get into it?
My cousin did it originally.
Yeah, okay.
Who told me about it a few times when I was like through the ages of 16 to 17.
Yep.
But you can't participate until I think you're about 16.
Because of the contact, or just
because
not being an adult,
kind of both.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're under 18, you have to be with a guardian and all that.
Yep.
Or get guardian permission.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're 18, fair game, go at it, have fun.
Try and get your head clobbered.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But I got into it through my cousin, who told me it's just a bunch of people that get together, hit each other with swords or bow and arrows. Yeah. I rocked up to it thinking there was going to be like 10 people on an oval. And then I rocked up, it was a stormy night. There was about 300 odd people, and we're fighting as this storm is happening
Oh,
over
really?
as the
cool.
storm is happening over the top of us. It's raining. Going, oh, that was so much fun. I got to come back and do this again. And I would have been 17. Yeah.
And how old are you now?
Now I'm 22.
22. Okay, so you've been doing it 5 years.
5 years. 23 in September.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, nice. Sorry, but you usually what? So what was your? Do you call it a costume? What do you call it?
Our costume kit.
Yeah. What was your kit from when, as a 17-year-old to now turning 23 this year?
Now turning 23. Oh, that was very loud. Sorry. I've gone from trackies, runners, and then t-shirt with a shitty leather torso back piece.
Yeah.
To now I wear a thing called rust pants, a tunic, period accurate shoes, like a full-on rust hat, and I wear something called lamellar armor, which is overlapping plates.
Oh gosh, like you are full pimped out.
Full pimped out, yeah, with and a rocker, and I run around with a big Dane axe now.
How much do you reckon that get up has cost you, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it's all good. Altogether, maybe $3,000, maybe. But that's over years of putting it together.
That is your pride and joy. Like that's your.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what you're known for. I guess, sort of like if you have a car or something, you could mod that out. But you're
exactly
actively each year putting in a couple of $100 to make it better and better and better.
I'd be rich if I didn't do LARPing. Yeah, it's just essentially what it is.
I suppose, and maybe this is not right, but with there's probably a bit more disposable income in Australia. I feel like our wages are higher and stuff like that. So I feel like you were saying pool noodles and stuff in the States.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that would go hand in hand with like the actual like people putting money into LARPing, because it's not going to send them fully broke. You know what I mean? Like they've got they can actually step up their game and have like something pretty.
It's definitely a factor.
Yeah.
But it also depends on what kind of, I guess, LARP it is per se.
Yeah. Okay.
Because some are more roleplay heavy, so you have a character, an accent. Yeah.
Do you chuck on an accent?
I do chuck on an accent.
Korean?
No, not Korean. It's a very butchered Norwegian accent.
Okay.
I'm a bit too embarrassed to do it on camera.
We'll chuck it down. I'll come Friday night with these cameras set up.
I mean, you wouldn't be the first.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah, there's plenty of photographers that come around.
It's 200 odd people. It's got to get some sort of
the
traction.
project came down once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You like fucking send them an arrow.
Send them an arrow. Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you know, it's definitely a factor in terms of income. But it depends on the rules. Like some people would just play to get a one-up on someone. So maybe it's a lighter weapon. It's still within the rules of the weapon making that company has.
So there's full-on, like as you said, the company, which was what was it? Swordcraft.
Yep.
Do they have a set of rules to be like, this is what we abide by, this is our law, let's call it, and you just go, I've got to make something to be in the parameters of this. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's if you want to make something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's plenty of companies out there that you can buy stuff off. Yep. So, Calamaisel is one of them, and they make realistic looking weapons out of out of a condensed foam latex mix. I'm not too sure, to be 100% honest with you.
If I had one of those, let's say a sword or an axe or something of that mix that you just said, and I whomped you in the head with it as hard as I could, am I doing damage?
Probably. I once had a person in my group that got smacked in the head and got a concussion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He had to go to hospital. But they sent him out later that night, so it wasn't too bad. But
the battle was still raging.
Because the battle was still raging,
Get out there and murder.
I've been smacked in the eye with one before.
What with?
A foam staff.
Okay, yeah, like a bow staff.
Yeah, bow staff.
Yeah.
I think I've permanently damaged my retina. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys thought LARPing was a joke. This man's a hero.
I mean, damaged retina as opposed to losing an eye, a bit different.
Hey, modern day gladiator.
Modern day gladiator.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
you just got whomped straight in the eyeball.
Yeah. I had to go off to the side to see the medic.
There's medics?
There's medics. There's full-on first responder medics that rock up.
I feel like more people would do this if it was... Well, I mean, fucking 200 people, actually.
It's a lot of people.
That is a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is it, like, priced? Like, do you pay the company? Is there a membership? Like, how does that work?
So there's a membership you pay for.
Yep.
Which the way they're doing it now, there's a year-long membership.
Yep.
And then you pay for every game you go to, so that there's like a bit of an insurance thing there.
So Fridays, is that the game? Is that what we call it?
So that's the battle game essentially.
Yep.
And once a year, there's a week-long event, usually towards the end of September.
This is a whole different world.
Yeah, yeah, it's different.
I thought this was just, I'm going to say it, nerds in a park. Like 7 of yous.
That's what I thought it was originally too, yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you were saying a week-long event.
A week-long event where you are camping in like cotton tents that have been weaved together, and you weather them so that rain doesn't get into it.
Okay,
There's you're cooking in cast iron pots and pans.
So it's all like traditional... that time era. You said it's Warhammer. I don't know.
It's Warhammer.
If that is supposed to be. Has it got a year, Warhammer, or is it future? I don't know about.
No,
Warhammer.
there's. I don't know much either.
Okay.
From my understanding, there's two versions of it. There's Warhammer 40k, which is thousands years in the future.
Yep.
Full on like space marines, that sort of thing. Yep. And then there's...
That's not you guys.
That's not us, no. Yeah. And then there's the
other... I come down as the wrong Warhammer.
Yeah.
It's a spaceman. They're like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing, mate? Yeah.
Come on, mate. Same thing.
Same thing.
Just have a gun. Shotguns are allowed, yeah?
Well, you say that. There are like band rifles, which are essentially massive rubber bands on these like flintlock rifle looking things. And they shoot you with them.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just at the fantasy medieval-esque one.
You guys are dangerous.
Only when you get hit in the face.
Menace to society.
Menace to society. There was I think there was one bloke who got pulled up by the cops for having one in his in the back of his car.
Really? Yeah, it's pretty hard to sort of explain because you're like, yeah, I'm a LARPer, and they're like,
yep.
All right, let me too.
Sure, yeah.
Let's jump in the back of that car. Yeah. And you're like, no, look at my getup.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just hope you had like a real good looking, not just hobo one.
Hobo, yeah.
If it was some hobo-y looking bloody getup, you'd be like, yeah, you're a crazy person.
You're a crazy person, yeah.
But yours would be like, this is more than fucking...
Yeah.
A shitty car. I don't know.
More than a shitty car.
Yeah. $3,000's a fair old lump sum.
And then some, probably. Because some of it's trial and error too. So
you make a lot of this? Or is it prefab? Like, obviously, I don't think you're making a tunic or anything like that. But like, what's your weapon? Your primary weapon?
At the moment, it's a big Dane axe from Epic Armory.
Okay, yep. So you bought that?
Bought that one, yeah.
When you say big, how big are we talking?
If I was to sit the bottom of it down and I was to stand up, it would probably come up to my shoulders.
Okay, yep.
So it's what? If I'm
just lie.
If I'm 8 foot tall,
it's got to be at least 6.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I think it stands at a good 5'7". The axe, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think the average height in Australia is like 5'9".
5'9"
for a man. So
yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just how much does it weigh?
Oh, it's very very light.
Yeah,
it's less than a kilo.
But could you... Yeah, I was thinking that, actually. That's a good point. Because in my mind, it was like 3 kilos, 4 kilos. But if you bash someone in the brain with it, it's going to fuck them up.
It's going to fuck them up.
But I suppose... How durable is it? Like, are you hitting people hard?
Yeah.
Is there you're a big dude. You know what I mean? Like, are you swinging with full force, or you just sort of like tap?
Tap.
Yeah, okay.
If you swing with full force, people complain.
So there's an actual rule.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're all just a bunch of friends.
Yeah,
just trying to have a bit of fun.
Yeah. And just hitting people with axes.
And just hitting people with axes, you know? Like, how many people can say, me and a bunch of mates went out to an oval to hit each other with swords?
Not many.
Not many, no.
Thinking, like,
well, I know there's one guy.
Yeah. Like, have some katana, just, that's probably not the way to go. That is pretty incredible, though. Like, so 200 to 300 people. How many at these, like, week-long
events?
Yeah.
Like 500 to... I think there was one event where there may have been a little over 1,000 people.
Holy smokes.
I think.
So we live in Melbourne.
Yeah.
In Australia. I should say that because I've got a fair few international people. But how far out of Melbourne are you going when there's like a space big enough for you guys to actually do your thing for a week? Just the area is not
the area, yeah.
Address.
So to explain that, I'm going to have to also explain something else.
Okay.
There's also different chapters throughout Victoria. So there's one in Geelong, there's one in Ballarat, Bendigo.
Are you the big dogs? Is Melbourne like...
Melbourne's the main one.
We're fighting the fellas from Melbourne.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay,
Where else? I think there's one in Dandenong.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So there's a few around, and each of them have their own events that usually last half a week or a long weekend. Okay,
so throughout the entire year...
There's things going on.
Yeah, okay. And is there just a calendar, or does Stormcraft have like a, hey guys, there's this one going, get your registrations in, blah, 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 blah?
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
And I assume, because there's actually so many people that do it, that you would miss out. Yeah. Is that correct?
You do miss out on some.
Yeah, okay.
I only really attend the Ballarat ones and the big Melbourne one.
Yep.
Mainly just because that's where I know people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The other chapters, I don't really know anyone. Yeah.
Do you ever just... So how does it work, though? Like, do you go in a team? Like, are you in a team?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way it works is there are groups of individual teams that also have different themes.
Yep.
So one might be sort of pikemen and shields. So big spears, essentially.
Okay, I was going to...
Yeah.
It's me just like, what's a shield?
What's a shield? Another group might be majority archers and healers, maybe.
Quick question. Archers. What are we talking? They're clearly not compound bows. Like,
no.
What are like homemade-y type? Like,
they're not homemade. I've never done archery, so I don't know too much about it in terms of a LARPing point of view.
Yeah. But that'd be big, thick, like...
Yeah, they're essentially arrows with foam tennis balls on the end of them.
Okay. Could you tell me how far they shoot? Or what's the distance? You like, fuck, there's archers over there. Be at the ready.
You could probably get maybe a good 10 meters.
Okay.
Which isn't far.
But still... I'm battling fucking She-Rog the Destroyer.
Yeah.
I don't realise, and I cop an arrow to the eyeball.
I did get an arrow to the eye once.
Nice. Yeah. That's in the game, isn't it?
But they're...
Copped an arrow to the leg.
I mean, there's also been a few to the crutch, which are never good fun.
Okay,
Those ones hurt.
Do you have a box, actually?
I should wear a box.
Yeah, I don't. Say,
yeah.
It would be, like, I would straight for the dick. Like,
you would go straight for the dick? Well, you wouldn't be very liked. You would get far in the game, but you wouldn't be well liked.
Well, it's all about war.
It's all about war.
Love and war, I guess they say.
Yeah. Well, historically, there's I've heard that there's agreements that just no going for the crutch.
Wait, like in real war?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
From what I've been told, how true that is, I'm not too sure.
I would be known as Taitholomew the Dick Puncher if I was...
Taitholomew the Dick Puncher.
Back in those days. I'd be like, do not fight him. Straight for the dick.
Just drop down to your knees. You're like, oh, bam!
Yeah. It's my finishing move. And then boxes were invented. Yeah, that is very interesting. So, you go to these skirmishes, you're in a group.
Yep.
How many are in your group?
Depends on the group. In my group, there's approximately 30 people. But usually 10 people rock up each sort of time we run. Exactly. Time, yeah.
And can I ask, how much do they cost to go and do like a session on a Friday? If someone is keen.
On your first night's free.
Nice. Yep.
Otherwise, it's $15 a game.
Yep.
Which isn't too crazy.
And that covers more like insurance and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they just have to do.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, someone cops something to the eyeball.
To the eye, yeah.
Jeez, I wonder the insurance company that does that.
I've got no idea.
LARP insurance.
Yeah. I think it's categorized as a contact sport. So I think maybe it comes under... Sense. Yeah.
Yep. Anything with like fucking...
Getting
hit. Contact, yeah.
But I'm not sure what the insurance policy is.
Yeah.
I just play for fun,
When something goes wrong.
Yeah. I just know the organisers yell at me.
Yes. Stop hitting them so hard, Aarlon. Take the dick punch.
Take the dick punch, yeah.
So there's usually 10 of you that rock up.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any ones where you do get your full team and you're like, holy crap, we've got a full...
Not recently.
25. Okay.
Yeah. When I was in a different war band. Oh, they're called war bands, by the way.
War bands.
Yeah.
Okay. And the instrument you play? No.
Yes.
The piccolo.
The piccolo.
Yeah.
That one originally had 100 odd people.
Yep.
And back in its prime, there would be 30 people each night.
Yeah, okay.
Each Friday night.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was insane. It was usually that group plus another group versus everyone else.
Oh, okay. Like that was a big
thing.
Band.
Yeah. But they've since disappeared. They're no longer a thing.
Yep. I suppose it's like any sort of extracurricular activity. Like it takes a lot of commitment.
It does.
And then obviously, you were 17 when you started.
Mm-hmm.
You were a different person then to now, and obviously, people that were doing it when you started probably didn't have wives and this and
people have kids, get married.
Yeah. Do you know anyone that did LARPing and then had like a real LARPy type wedding? Or they usually,
yeah, people have. Like it's full on medieval themes. Like they all wear tunics, over tunics. Like those sort of leathery shoes with a
codpiece.
A codpiece, those. I've never been to one that's been a LARP themed wedding, but it looks like it'd be fun.
I mean, I went to 7 weddings last year. Like I'm 33 tomorrow, so send through your fucking PayPal details and tell me.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I'll replay this tomorrow. But weddings are boring as shit. Like you're a young man, you probably haven't been to many weddings.
Not many.
Relatives.
Yeah.
But they're boring as shit.
Yep.
People pretend like they're great and they're fucking boring. So if any of my friends listen to this, which I think they're all bailed out of this podcast by now, but that's why I can slag them off. Maybe have a LARPing themed wedding. Maybe for my mates who'll probably inevitably get divorced. Wedding number 2, medieval.
Yeah, medieval.
I'll dress up as a goat-like creature and marry you if you fucking want. So you were talking about the teams. Obviously, things happen. I was talking about the weddings and stuff of how boring they are in the future and how nice it would be to have a goat person marry you. But
well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's just more my dreams. But you were saying that you have teams.
Yes.
And then you go to these week-long sometimes things in Ballarat and stuff like that.
Yep.
How do they actually work? So you got a week-long thing coming up. What's the go?
So the Swordcraft company
Yep.
The week-long event have bought a piece of land.
Yep.
Out in Pompany, which is it's very rocky and it needs a lot of love, but it's got potential.
Okay.
So we're just working on that at the moment, making it campable.
Yep.
But
where was this?
I think Pompany. It's near, Colac, or
yes, I think it's
out west.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. And they bought a plot down there. How many acres?
I don't know how
the
many acres.
The LARPing game is fucking killing it.
Enough.
Enough to get a fucking...
Heaps, yeah. And they're setting up a whole town. There's a tavern being made or has been made. Merchant stalls, all that sort of thing.
Crazy
stuff. But yeah, there's a whole town. They've bought a bit of land, and every warband, if they want to, can sublease a bit of that land.
Oh, okay.
To build on.
Oh, so have an actual structure there that is... Mm-hmm. This is... what's your clan warband called?
So we are called Vanderheim Freeholders.
Okay.
Which we are a Norskin-based warband.
Mm-hmm.
But because playing the bad guys at Sawcraft often doesn't go very well, we've played it that we had to flee our homeland.
Yep.
Which is basically Scandinavia.
Yeah, okay.
But it's called Norska.
Yep.
And we've come down to Sudenburg, which is sort of very far down in sort of what would be Europe, essentially. Okay. But we originally moved over to what would be considered like Russia. Kind of thing.
See.
It's a bit of a hot topic nowadays. But so because playing the bad guys often doesn't turn out pretty well, it often ends up being very negative.
Yeah, okay.
We've just said that we've had to flee. It was a really fucked up situation. We'll argue with you on this point.
Okay.
So our group theme is kind of fantasy Scandinavian. So like the whole Viking-esque thing. With a bit of sort of what I would call European influence, because in terms of our sort of storyline that we've made for ourselves, we wandered around a bit. Before going to the main town, which Melbourne has made. We've gone there kind of trying to find our new home, essentially.
So you have in your LARPing a full background of where your clan warband came from, and to how they got to where you are in Melbourne. Who comes up with this? Like, you band together and... so... Or is there just like a main story man?
Me...
Or woman?
Well, for individual warbands, it's your own story, as long as it's within the lore of Warhammer.
Okay, so it has to be Warhammer.
Or believable, at least, within that sort of rule set. But there's a full-on actual story team that make stories for the events.
Okay.
Like a few years ago, there was one about these beings called avatars.
I think I've seen the film.
You've seen the film, yes. No, they were sort of these... We are an ant compared to them kind of thing.
Oh, okay. That's in the storyline.
In the storyline.
Yep.
They're not giant. They're just very, very powerful in terms of the storyline.
Yeah, okay.
And they were trying to fight over who gets to stay, and then you had to sort of pick a side, which one you're gonna, out of the four, who are you going with?
Yep.
There's another storyline at the moment, but I think that's changing up a bit, and I'm not sure what's happening with it. And I don't know too much about the current storyline.
So do you get like a fucking pamphlet, or email, some sort of like old-timey book to be like, hey, read through this, and this is what we're going for in this week-long thing? There's
a very rough skeleton
of
a start of a storyline, and then you find out the rest as the week goes along.
Really? So So the people who run this Swordcraft, let's just say that those guys, for example.
Yep.
It's like a full-on, full-time job. Like
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of your time and energy.
Yeah.
It is. It can be very exhausting. But it's also just an extreme hobby.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fun at the end of the day. Is what it is.
Do you ever find yourself like sometimes being annoyed at maybe trying to do your costume or something's not working out, and then you're just like, hey, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just chill.
Yep.
We're just going there to, you know, hang out, do our skirmish, and then, you know. Can I just ask, so let's say you do your battle and whatnot.
Yep.
And then after it, what do you, like you said you would stay in like legitimate like cotton tents or whatever it was and that type of stuff. So what do you do after it? Like, do you stay in character when it's like, let's say there was, the main thing was a battle.
Yeah.
Do you sit back and you're just like, hey, now we're gonna drink mead or
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, like
you get back to your camp for the week-long event,
and you're still in character the entire time.
In character, your accents, you get out of all your armor, and often you go shower. Because there's often proper, well, not proper. They're like portable showers and toilets, that sort of thing. There is a little bit of luxury.
So you wash off all the blood.
All the blood, all the mud, all the sweat. And you're in the shower and you're like, I got 3 new bruises. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Or you might go, I don't remember stubbing my finger.
Okay, yeah. But it's fucking battle. Fucking...
Yeah, so then because these battles go for anywhere from 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, so you're just like... Yeah. So what's the rules? So let's say you start the battle and then you die, like, or how do you die?
So it is determined by what sort of race you're playing, whether that's an elf, dwarf, or a human.
Yep.
And depending on what kind of armor and how much armor you're wearing.
Okay.
So you have a set number of essentially... I think they're called wound points or health points.
Yep.
And each hit takes that down. You can put them, you can replenish that by going to like a healer. Yep. So that's like your mages and your priests, that sort of thing. And they'll do like a little enchantment or a little spell or whatever, and fix you up and you're good to go.
Yep.
There's also like surgical healers as well. And they all have a full-on kit. Like they have stones that they pull out that are a pass or not, like these magical stones, or they have like thread and needle, that sort of thing.
And is that sort of like up to your own imagination, or is it okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's not like you have to have this red stone that means, you know.
Yeah, there are certain rules you do have to follow. From mages, for healing mages, as far as I'm aware, it has to be like you got good and bad stones. So a bad stone being the spell failed.
Okay.
A good stone being it passed. Doesn't have to be a stone. It just has to be something you can go, this is the bad one, this is the good one. And it's all in the same little pouch.
Okay. So it's up to their discretion?
Yeah.
They're like, fuck Aarlon. He's got the dead stone.
Well, no, if they pull it out.
Oh, so
so they don't know if it's going to work or not.
It's a luck thing.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I thought they were just like...
fuck this guy, yeah.
Blue stone for this guy.
3 days ago, you hit me in the leg pretty hard.
That's right, like that. Yeah. So it's an actual, like... It's sort of like Dungeons and Dragons.
It's exactly Dungeons and Dragons, yeah.
Oh, so is it like... So it is a live version of Dungeons and Dragons, I guess?
To an extent, yeah. Different rules and lore to follow, but essentially, it's just that same sort of magical realm, kingdoms, knights, magic users, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Before we were chatting about 2, and I think I cut you off, but you said you got injured. You got smacked in the eyeball.
Yes.
And then you went off to the medic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on a tangent about medics because I was confused that you actually had them.
Yeah.
But I found out it was that big that you guys need them.
Need medics, yeah.
What actually happened to you?
So, I got smacked in the eye. I went off to the side. I couldn't see out of it. Like someone had to essentially help guide me off the oval because
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't see.
So what happened? So you got hit with a
staff, like a bow staff.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Went over to the medic. The medic opened up my eye and put like a few eye drops in it just to clear it out.
They just drop magic rocks in there.
Yeah.
And that really fucked it.
And that's how I lost my eye. Yeah. Yeah, he put some sort of eye drops and just cleared it out.
Saline solution, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. And then put an eye patch on it.
Yeah.
And I decided that I'm going to go back onto the field, not to fight, but essentially to tell
to kill
people,
them.
to kill them.
To kill the person who fucking took your eye.
But to tell people where to go, like in terms of flanks and
you would have been a terrible fucking person to tell them what was surrounding them. Go left. Oh, fuck. No.
Guns, hang on.
People over there.
Yeah. I'm just like, hang on.
The archers.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, though. Any other injuries? Just
knee, crutch also, arrows and swords to the crutch, that also hurts.
Yep.
I injured the tendon on my knee a few years, and it's now at the same knee that I injured a couple, maybe about 18 months back now too.
In LARPing again?
No, different.
Okay.
That one was from going to the gym and being a dumbass, essentially.
Okay, yeah.
But no, with this one, I had something called greaves on, which cover your shin.
Yep.
But the top of it kept rubbing against the tendon the whole night.
Oh.
Which I didn't know till the end of the night, and I couldn't walk on it. And I think it took about a month to heal.
So you just wore away your tendon?
It's still there, but I bruised it or something. Yeah,
squished it. Yeah. That's annoying.
It was pretty annoying.
That's just a costume injury.
Yeah, it's because it's proper 18 gauge steel that's rubbing against your shin. Yeah.
Which it wouldn't be great. Do you now know a lot of? Do you do research into armor and history and bits and pieces about steel and all that type of sort of just have a natural curiosity towards it now?
Yeah, definitely more of a curiosity towards it now. It's mainly if I'm thinking about buying something or going to try and make something that I'll start looking into types of steel or sort of a bit more historical clothing, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Has anyone ever, have you gone to, let's say, LARPing one night and someone is wearing something that's totally mate, that you can't wear that, that's fucked.
Can't wear that.
It's just that's not in the law, not in the
I'm
running around in a fucking minion suit or something and you're just I just in my mind because it's broken, I just keep thinking of people in the park in dominatrix stuff. Leather type of where do you buy that?
People have tried.
Sex shops.
Some people have tried, and they often get bullied out of not doing it.
Yeah.
Just because it's don't bring your weird, well, not weird, but whatever you want to do into the
I can say it.
fair enough. Into our LARP essentially.
Yeah. Just trying to sexy it up, you bastards.
Yeah.
Innocent elves over here. Right?
Innocent elves, yeah.
Sex craze.
We've had streakers before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which was quite funny because there's also a few cops that do LARPing. Yeah.
And they're get down. Shoot them in the back.
No, with the band rifle. No, but they've full on tackled them to the ground and said, "Yep, you're under arrest now."
Oh, really? Just
I'm
undercover.
Yeah.
Undercover LARPing.
Undercover LARPing.
It's a movie come to you soon.
Yeah, so often the public will, on a Friday night, I should say, will come around and stand around the oval and watch film.
Fucking get him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kill him.
You get people that rock up with a slab of beer, and by the end of the night, it's all gone, and they're having a grand old time.
Oh, that's so funny. It's such a unique thing. We'd spoken about it before, but I didn't think it was such a big thing.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And Victoria isn't the only Swordcraft isn't the only company out there too.
Yeah.
There's there's one in Sydney. What's it called? Battle something.
You can make up anything.
I could make up any name.
Like it's fucking carpet couch.
Carbon couch?
I said carpet.
Oh, carpet.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. So,
not to be confused with carbon couch.
Yeah, that's my LARPing brand coming out. Patented.
But there's plenty of other ones. There's one in Victoria called Exodus as well.
Yep.
But the main one in Victoria, at least, is Swordcraft.
They sound pretty big if they're buying like plots of land and they want to do all this other stuff. So you started when you were 17, you turned 23 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Has LARPing changed in that time? Like, has it evolved, or has it got more serious? Has it kind of stayed the same? What's your gut feel?
At least Swordcraft, that's become a bit more role play-y.
Yeah.
So a bit more character heavy, accents, and a bit more kind of community driven, higher standards with costuming.
Yes, okay.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you rock up to these week-long events and you're like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like a Renaissance fair. Yeah.
It's like a full-on I can't speak now. Renaissance fair,
yes.
Yeah.
Funny if I fucked up that word. They're like, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's a Renaissance fair.
It's a Renaissance.
Yeah.
There's a Renaissance fair. Yeah. So it's a lot of it's community driven.
Yeah, I assume it would be.
Yeah.
Any type of like activity like that, like it has to have. It doesn't work without community.
No.
And people putting in or volunteering.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so the costuming as standards have gotten higher. Yeah. I don't know, that's all I've noticed at least. So, characters and costumes.
And it used to be a little bit bigger, like obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But it's coming back.
Yeah. They're getting the numbers back now, or starting to. Like during COVID, it was, if we were lucky to get out, 20 people, like 30 people may have rocked up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the LARPing. It's like anything. COVID took away the fucking stuff.
It took away a lot of things.
I wonder how many people, and you probably may know some, how many people have met their significant other.
A few? Yeah.
Yeah, through LARPing. Like, because it's obviously, being in that world and stuff, it's probably hard to meet other people that do that. Also meeting someone that likes it already. It's a big thing.
Yeah, one of my mates is getting engaged. And they originally met at LARPing, from what I'm aware of. And they're a fair few, a little bit older than myself.
Yep.
But when I came onto the scene, I was one of the younger people. Like, I was 17 and most people were 25.
Yeah, okay. What do you reckon the average age of it is?
Probably around 25 is probably the average age.
In my mind, I was like, nope, they are like fucking in their 40s.
No, there's a few that are in their 40s and 50s.
Are they like Grand Wizard elves?
Yeah, they're real old. And they give you like little like tips and tricks that you wouldn't have thought of.
Punch him in the dick.
Yeah. He's not wearing a box. Get him. Yeah.
See his eye, it's weak.
Yeah. But the company itself hasn't been running that long.
Yeah, okay.
It's, I want to say 2015?
Yep.
Maybe 14, maybe 2014.
Yeah.
So within the last couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah, but the average age is probably around 25, but you get some people that are 17 all the way through to 40.
Yeah.
Everything in between.
Yeah, okay, nice. Two things I want to ask, because we're going to wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
If a person's listening to this and they are in whatever country and they think they want to do it,
yep,
what's the best way to actually get into it?
Google and Facebook.
Yeah, okay, so there's Facebook forums.
There's Facebook groups and stuff.
Yeah.
Most will have an official website.
Yep.
And that'll probably have a link to their social medias, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be able to work it out from there.
Nice.
And what was the other question, sorry?
To be honest, I thought I was going to think of another one by the time you were answering that.
Nice.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think we've answered everything that springs to my mind pretty much straight away, which is great. Obviously, to do it proper, you need to have a bit of money.
A little bit of money, yeah.
Because you've got to put in the time. And any tips or hints or anything?
Like, for how to do it?
Yeah, anything that you would say, I wish someone sort of told me to do this or not stress about this or anything?
Just have fun with it.
Yeah. Okay.
At the end of the day, it's just a game. Everyone's there just to have a good time. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah,
that's a general good rule of thumb.
So it's good it's a good way of meeting people, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like some of my best friends I've met through it.
Yeah. Okay.
LARPing is one of those things where I wouldn't know where I'd be today if I didn't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was one of those one of those few significant things that you do in life that just change you as a person.
Yeah.
Like I went from a shy 17-year-old who could barely look at someone in the eye to someone who has been in charge of an entire side yelling at 50-odd people to flank left or punch the center.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And win a few games as well,
which
is always good for the ego, you know.
Oh, so you were like one of the reasons that it won?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Not all the time, but when I get put in charge, yeah.
Number one. Oh dear. That's all I'm going to send to all the LARPing communities. Like, number one LARPer over here. Aarlon, the sledgehammer fucking... do you have a LARPing name?
Yeah, it's Hjalmar Arvidsson.
Okay, I can't pronounce that. Yeah, Hjalmar Arvidsson.
Sure. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it, man.
That's it.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No, thank you for having me.
If anyone's keen, would you like random people to look at your Instagram or anything?
Yeah, sure. It is the one on Instagram is Hjalmar_Arvidsson.
Do you want to spell that?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that up to spell it just to make sure I don't misspell it. I spelled it once and went, this is good enough.
Yeah. Let's see. Fair. While you're looking at that, I'll just say to the folks who are watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Feel free to send through any questions or anything like that. I'm always keen for feedback. Hope you enjoyed. Aarlon?
Yes.
How do you spell it?
HJALMAR_AVRDSEN.
And that's Habasha Ramadan.
Exactly, yeah. Could have not have said it better.
Thank you so much. I'm
You're
a
welcome.
natural. Aarlon, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
We will be back next week with Morgan Freeman. Tune in.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.